making headlines this hour. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu shares his deep concern about the younger generation gradually turning away from religious values, calling it his greatest worry if he were a youth of today. The Maldives' Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif says that the government is preparing to host international competitions in the Maldives. Maldives and China signs a development cooperation deal worth $85 million. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maroof. At a recent Youth Coffee with the President's session, President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu shares his deep concern about the younger generation gradually turning away from religious values, calling it his greatest worry if he were a youth of today. Responding to a question from a youth attendee, the President acknowledged that while he had not previously considered this perspective, his commitment to guiding young people remains unwavering. Reflecting on his own experiences studying abroad, the President recalled discussing this issue with classmates and resolving to return home and foster religious engagement among Maldivian youth. He emphasized that most young people do not intentionally abandon faith, but may unknowingly stray due to societal pressures. As president, he continues to prioritize reinforcing Islamic principles, launching initiatives like the National Service Program to cultivate patriotism, and partnering with the Ministry of Islamic Affairs to train young imams and huffaz. These strategic programs remain part of his clear vision to safeguarding the nation's youth by anchoring them in faith and national identity. The Maldives' Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif says that the government is preparing to host international competitions in the Maldives. In a statement given to PSM News, the Vice President affirmed that the government is working swiftly, without pause, to make this vision a reality, and that he is hopeful that Maldivians will benefit from this prerogative. He said that the government has made significant strides in the development of sports such as volleyball, football, futsal, among others. In addition to activities held in capital Male, sports competitions are being held throughout the country, showing Maldivians' never-ending enthusiasm for sports. One of the government's biggest goals is to host an international games competition on home soil. The government is partnering with sports associations as well as working to provide the necessary facilities for such an event to take place. In 2025, the Maldives hosted the Women's Kawa Cup, the Under-19 Regional Basketball Tournament, and the ITF and ATF tennis competitions, demonstrating that the Maldives is a suitable host for international competitions. The first Commonwealth Beach Handball Championship was also held successfully in Kurudufushi City, marking a significant milestone for the nation in terms of sports in the international sporting arena. More sporting facilities are proposed to be constructed in 2026, including a national surfing stadium, an Olympic-sized pool, and tennis arena in the Hulumale be constructed in Hulumale Phase 1. The Vice President said that hosting international competitions in the Maldives will be beneficial and elevate the image of the nation. Maldives and China signs a development cooperation deal worth $85 million. The agreement signed is intended to support Maldives' key development priorities over the coming years. At a ceremony held this morning at Maldives' Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdullah Khalil, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Maldives, signed the agreement on behalf of the Government of Maldives, while Mr. Kong Xianhua, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to the Maldives, signed on behalf of the Government of China. Senior officials from the Ministry of Finance and Planning, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and other distinguished guests were also in attendance. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Maldives Foreign Minister Dr. Abdullah Khalil said the agreement reflected long-standing ties and cooperation between the Maldives and China. He noted that Chinese assistance had contributed to several major development projects in the Maldives over recent decades, including housing developments in Hulumale, support for the health sector, growth in tourism arrivals, and the construction of the China-Maldives Friendship Bridge. According to the minister, funding under the agreement will prioritize three main projects: the development of the China-Maldives Friendship Hospital in Vilimale, road development in Male and Vilimale, and the construction of 50 island council buildings nationwide. Dr. Khalil expressed appreciation to the Chinese government for its continued support and said the Maldives would continue to work closely with China on development initiatives. China's ambassador to the Maldives, Kong Xianhua, said Beijing would continue to support the Maldives' development agenda and emphasized China's commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation through the implementation of agreed projects. In a significant move to empower local businesses, the government announces the decision by President Dr. Mohammad Moizu to offer a comprehensive package of concessions aimed at supporting small and medium enterprises, SMEs, over the next 2 years. The announcement was made by the Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Muhammad Saeed, during a press conference at the President's office. The decision follows a recent meeting between President Moizu and SME representatives, where business owners voiced their challenges and concerns. Minister Saeed emphasized that the government will address these issues through coordinated efforts involving key agencies such as the Maldives Inland Revenue Authority, Maldives Customs Service, Maldives Ports Limited, and Maldives Airports Company Limited. As part of the support, a dedicated fund of $32.4 million will be allocated to SMEs next year. Over the past 2 years, the government has already disbursed $22.6 million in small loans to 595 businesses across 10 key sectors, including women-led enterprises, mariculture, fisheries, and tourism. Additionally, the Ministry of Finance and Planning has settled $843.1 million in outstanding bills, with $324.3 million directed to SMEs. To ease foreign exchange access, Bank of Maldives has increased dollar support, offering up to 50% TT for bills under $2,500, up to 30% for those between $2,500 and $5,000, and 15% of amounts above $5,000 at the official exchange rate. MIRA has also enhanced outreach, providing tax guidance to 2,291 small businesses in the Male area and introducing relief measures for those with unpaid tax obligations. SME Digital introduces vessel financing, a new loan scheme targeted at small and medium enterprises, SMEs, designed for marine vessels. Under this scheme, individuals and businesses are offered loans of up to $323,678.85. The newly introduced product offers flexible repayment periods of up to 10 years, including a 18th-month grace period, granting ease in supporting businesses long-term. The product is targeted for both new and existing businesses aiming to buy or build new vessels, upgrade existing vessels, purchase essential equipment including, but not limited to, engines and machinery, and on maintenance of existing vessels. SME Digital stated the new product will provide support business in key sectors such as fishing, logistics, cargo shipping, and tourism in regard to their vessels. SME Chief Executive Officer Badruddin Hassan reiterated that the financing scheme opens up new opportunities for businesses in key sectors that contributes to the Maldives' economy. Highlighting how the new vessel financing product can be utilized, he stressed that SME Digital seeks to expand opportunities to SMEs operating in all sectors and provide easy-to-access, convenient financing products to support their development and contribute to the growth of the nation's economy. As the Maldives' first fully Sharia-compliant digital financial institution dedicated to SME growth, SME Digital emphasizes ease of access as a major goal for its services. For this scheme, interested candidates can apply via the SME portal on the SME Digital website. Maldives Police Service MPS initiates Riverly Operation, a special police campaign aimed at ensuring road safety and public security during the school holidays, running from 24 December to 2nd January. The operation will focus on curbing theft, robbery, alcohol and drug offences, illegal vehicle modifications, especially silencer-altered motorbikes, and violations of social norms. Henveru Police Chief Ahmad Adil told PSM News that vehicle checkpoints, VCPs, are a key component of the crackdown, targeting noise pollution from modified bikes, a major public concern. On the first night alone, 33 violations were recorded, with 204 out of 217 vehicles inspected. Over 500 officers will be deployed across the city to maintain vigilance while minimizing public inconvenience. In a related development, MPS announced significant progress in combating financial scams, with recovery rates soaring to 37%, constituting $551,232 of $1.5 million lost since the anti-scam center's launch in March. The center's head, Adam Naveed, highlighted the Maldives' outperformance of global counterparts, noting Singapore's 22% recovery rate. The center has handled 1,663 cases with full restitution in 539 instances. Police are also collaborating with 12 countries under Operation Frontier Plus, recently reclaiming $250,000 in a cross-border fraud case. Statistics reveal that most scam victims are young to middle-aged men, with 603 cases linked to Facebook Marketplace transactions. Maldives Monetary Authority (MMA's) monthly economic update report for November shows the annual growth rate of credit to private sector has increased by 8% compared to 6% in September of this year. According to the report, credit to major sectors in the Maldives expanded in October. These sectors are personal loans, tourism, commerce, construction, and real estate. The report also highlights personal loans registered the highest growth and an annual increase of 19%. Meanwhile, the tourism industry accounts for the largest share of bank credit, with 35%, registering a marginal increase. The central bank also provided details on the factors that led to the increase in personal loans. Credit lent in the form of credit cards and consumer durables drove the upward trend, supplemented by a marginal increase in education. Parallels to the key theme of the forum, Voices for a Living Planet, civil society conversations on environment and human rights, which highlights the interlinkage between human rights and environment. In her speech, Dr. Ramila drew attention to the vital roles civil society organizations, CSOs, plays in societal progress of every nation and in addressing environmental concerns. On the forum itself, she highlighted the relevance and importance of the key topic, speaking on how environmental issues are one of the biggest hurdles that we face in the contemporary world. She emphasized that categorizing the right to a clean environment highlights the enormity of how environmental issues impact the rights of an individual. Furthermore, speaking on climate-vulnerable countries and the impact of both natural and human-induced environmental degradation, Dr. Ramila said that it is every individual's responsibility to limit their negative footprint on the environment and to find ways to mitigate natural causes for ecosystem disruptions. She said, passing a clean, secure, and sustainable environment to the next generation is vital. She also pointed out the importance of holding such forums between different stakeholders working in civil society and environmental sectors as key to increasing awareness on such issues. Speaking on how CSOs can champion awareness on environmental issues, Dr. Ramila drew information from her experiences and said that it is a key imperative for such organizations to investigate and analyze how development plans are implemented and carried out to inform and spread awareness to the public on their findings, in addition to environmental issues in general. The forum concluded with the participation of a total of 63 participants, with HRCM and United Nations Development Programme UNDP representatives in attendance. A total of 26 civil society organizations, CSOs from Male, and 14 organizations from the atolls also attended this forum. HRCM has detailed that this forum aims to strengthen engagement between HRCM and CSOs, providing a vigorous system for consultation and collaborative action while serving as a platform for dialogue and holding multifaceted discussions on human rights. The French government condemns a visa ban imposed by the Trump administration on Thierry Breton, a former European Union commissioner who helped drive the EU's Digital Services Act, which has recently targeted top US tech companies. The Trump administration imposed visa bans on Breton and other anti-disinformation campaigners who it says were involved in censoring US social media platforms in the latest move in a campaign aimed at European rules that US officials say go beyond legitimate regulation. Breton, a former French finance minister and the European Commissioner for the International Market from 2019 to 2024, was the most high-profile individual targeted. U.S. Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy Sarah Rogers, when outlining the bans on Tuesday, described Breton as a mastermind of the Digital Services Act, which was again defended by Barrett. Trump officials have ordered U.S. diplomats to build opposition to the European Union's landmark Digital Services Act (DSA), which is intended to combat hateful speech, misinformation and disinformation, but which Washington says stifles free speech and imposes costs on U.S. tech companies. The visa bans come after the administration's national security strategy this month said European leaders were censoring free speech and suppressing opposition to immigration policies that it said risk civilizational erasure for the continent. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the 5 people targeted with visa bans have led organized efforts to coerce American platforms to censor, demonetize, and suppress American viewpoints they oppose. Supporters of Honduras National Party celebrates after the National Electoral Council announced Nasri Asfoura as the country's president-elect, amid delays and ongoing claims of irregularities from opposition candidate Salvador Nasrallah. Scenes from the capital showed National Party supporters rejoicing following the results, which marked a victory for the Conservative Party and its leader. Addressing the party supporters, National Party spokesperson Maria Antonieta Mejia emphasized unity among members and called for reconciliation within the country. Meanwhile, Liberal Party contender Salvador Nasrallah rejected the results in a press conference. While he vowed to not accept what he described as a flawed process, Nasrallah urged his supporters to avoid confrontation. The electoral authority, known as the CNE, said Asfoura had won 40.3% of the vote, edging out center-right Liberal Party candidate Salvador Nasrallah, who garnered 39.5%. Results were so tight and the ballot processing system so chaotic that around 15% of the tally sheets, comprising hundreds of thousands of ballots, had to be counted by hand to determine the winner. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says 2025 brought major global health gains but warned funding cuts and humanitarian crises are threatening progress. In a pre-recorded video message, Tedros cited adoption of the WHO Pandemic Agreement as the year's biggest achievement, calling it a powerful example of what multilateralism can deliver when countries choose cooperation over division. He said WHO validated 13 countries for eliminating diseases, issued guidance on innovations including lenacapavir for HIV prevention and GLP-1 therapies for obesity, and responded to 48 emergencies across 79 countries and territories, including Gaza, Sudan, and Ukraine.
2025 was the year of major achievements and challenges for global health and for WHO. The most significant achievement was the adoption of the WHO Pandemic Agreement, a powerful example of what multilateralism can deliver when countries choose cooperation over division. In addition, this year WHO validated 13 countries for the elimination of diseases. We provided guidance on innovations including lenacapavir for HIV prevention and GLP-1 therapies for obesity. And we responded to 48 emergencies in 79 countries and territories, including Gaza, Sudan, and Ukraine.
But he said aid cuts could reverse decades of gain, with early estimates suggesting childhood mortality could rise for the first time this century. Tedros said budget reductions have forced the WHO to cut its workforce. He said the crisis could also push countries toward greater self-reliance and help the WHO become more independent and resilient, adding that the world still needs the agency and its mission to ensure global health. And that's all we have on PSM News today.